What if your income isn't a reflection of your effort, but a reflection of your identity? In this episode, I am pulling back the 5 beliefs that are silently capping your cash flow. Stay tuned.
Before we dive in, let me tell you about the book that started a podcasting revolution, Make Every Podcast Want You. It is not just a bestseller, it is a 2-time gold medalist, baby. This book is your ultimate guide to landing dream podcast interviews, building authority authentically, and making your voice the one they remember. If you've got a message and a mission, this is your mic drop moment. Grab your copy today in the link below and step into the spotlight that you were born for.
Welcome to the Crown Yourself podcast, where together we build your empire and transform your subconscious stories about what's possible for your business, body, and life. I'm your host, Kimberly Spencer, founder of crownyourself.com, and I'm a master mindset coach, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, known to my clients as a game changer. Each week, you get the conscious leadership strategies you need to help you reign with courage, clarity, and confidence so that you too can make the income and impact you deserve. Imagine this podcast as your royal invitation to step into your full potential and reign in your divine purpose. Your sovereignty starts here, and your reign is now. Welcome to the Crown Yourself podcast, where we help visionary leaders step into their next level of income, impact, and authority so that you can turn your leadership into legacy. Hey there, I'm Kimberly Spencer, master mindset coach, subconscious success strategist, and high performance business coach, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and honestly, I am just obsessed with diving in to the subconscious beliefs that are actually running the show and capping that next level of success. In this episode, we are going to dive into what beliefs are silently sabotaging your ability to receive the next 100K. So I was working with one of my clients whose goal is to hit that 250K mark. She already had a very solid, sustainable private practice that was hitting 6 figures and great, awesome, amazing, top 15% of business women. And she wanted to go for that next 100K in revenue. And as we were looking at her business and going through my Queen Bee coaching program, which takes you through your mindset, your skill set, your systems, your branding, your marketing, your sales, your vision, your people, your data, all the things. We look at everything holistically when it comes to your business. And when we hit on the systems session, that was when things started to crumble. And it was in this session that she and I had a very honest conversation about her systems, or the lack thereof, that were preventing that next 100K, and why her systems were blocking the next 100K, because you already have systems in place as a business owner. You already have things that you're doing. We are wired with certain systems. When we upgrade those systems, just like upgrading the software in our computer, that's when we start having higher performance. And higher performance also translates into higher business performance with revenue. So when we started looking at the systems that she was specifically lacking in, those were rooted in, were actually a belief system that business had to be hard. And I looked at her, I looked at the size of her email list, I looked at her engagement, I looked at the fact that she was constantly speaking and constantly getting referrals. And I said, Queen, you already have a 250K business. You're just not activating it yet. And so what really was going on was this subconscious, insidious, limiting belief that said, I have to work harder to make more money. And then stacking on top of that were these other 4 hidden beliefs that were blocking her success. And having coached leaders now for 9 years, they didn't stop just her. They are the ones that are blocking every single one of us from our next 100K in revenue. And we're going to dive into those right now. Belief number 1, I have to work harder to earn more. This is rooted in your performance equaling your worth. This belief keeps high achievers over-delivering, undercharging, and avoiding rest. And this was actually the biggest one that was blocking my client from installing systems that actually just allowed her to follow up with the active, engaged, ready to buy leads that she was just kind of leaving on the conference room floor. Once we undid tying her performance to her worth and reframed this belief of having to work hard to earn more, she started doubling her packages that she was selling. Her revenue per customer increased. Okay, I just had to check what her revenue increase was. Because I didn't want to give like a false number. It was a 66.7% increase in revenue per client. And that meant it's a $1 increase in profit for her company per client. That is a game changer when you're looking at scalability. Now, yes, is she still scaling her time for her money, meaning trading time for dollars because working on a one-on-one basis? Yes, but that's something that fulfills her. So not necessarily is that something to counteract with as far as a belief. So I just had to check what it was. And I was like, oh, what did I text her? And I said, oh, it was a 66.7% increase in revenue per client and a $4,000 increase in profit per client. That's enormous for a business. That is transformative. That is how I told her that you already had a 250K year annual business. You just weren't activating it yet. The second belief that many entrepreneurs struggle with is too much money will change me or change how people see me. And this is rooted in a deep-seated fear of rejection and a loss of identity, and also a loss of what I call one of the Trojan horses, social acceptance. You see, for every subconscious belief, it's there to protect you in some way. And as human beings, we are wired for community. And that's why when you look at the 5 people around you, as Tony Robbins says, you'll see your net worth. And that's powerful because you can sabotage your visibility. It can raise your guilt around raising your prices. You can subconsciously associate more money with the risk of losing love or authentic expression. Because when you're going for that next level in your business, it's very common for people to reward the triers. Well, I tried doing that and it didn't work. I tried, having a business that was at the $1 million level, but I'm not there yet. And there is camaraderie in commiserating about the trying that you didn't do it. And so there can be a fear of losing those relationships that are valuable to you at the risk of making more money. So the fear subconsciously is if I outgrow them, then I'm going to be alone. And the reframe for that is actually, if they truly are meant to be in your life, if they truly deeply love you for you, then they're going to support you regardless. They're going to love you regardless of how much money you're making or how much money you're not making. And if they are not for you making that next level of money, and if they are only supporting the trying because they're trying too, but when you actually succeed and do it and they don't celebrate those successes, they might not be the best friends that you thought they were. Success not only illuminates what's true for you, but it also illuminates your circle around you of what other people believe about you and what other people see about themselves. And as I've grown my business and achieved more success, one of the things that I've noticed is that that's on them. Like that's their own projection or their own fears of self-worth. And I let them own it because I've had to own my own. I've had to own my own fears of success. I've had to own my own fears of losing friends, family for whatever reason because they thought money changed me. Money doesn't change you. It just enhances who you actually are. And what it also does is it also enhances who other people think you are and who other people think they are in relationship to you. And that's where it can be scary, not just for you, but for them as well. And when you can disassociate the codependency of that relationship, of having your relationship be dependent upon you being a trier instead of as someone who actually does the damn thing, then you get to see, wow, that person, what they're saying or what they're thinking about me is only a projection of their own fears, of their own light, of their own power, of their own fear of success. And that's on them to deal with, quite frankly. The third subconscious belief that is probably sabotaging your success is I am not ready. I am not qualified. I am not expert enough yet. And this is rooted in imposter syndrome and perfectionism. But as my friend Jen Koken says, who wrote the book on imposter syndrome, which you can check out here, imposter syndrome can be your superpower when you realize that all imposter syndrome is it's a sign that you're choosing to play in a bigger room. You're choosing to play bigger. Like I look at my daughter and right now she is 9 months old and she's really working on crawling. Does she feel like an imposter because she's not crawling yet? Because she's not like baby enough yet? I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. She is learning, looking, trying. She's in an environment where she sees everybody walking around her. So it's normal. So is she feeling like an imposter? No, she's 9 months old and she doesn't have that belief system yet. Hopefully she won't have to deal with it. But she's not looking at everyone like, oh my gosh, I'm an imposter for trying to walk, trying to crawl. No, she's like, I'm like, everyone else is walking on two legs. That looks really normal. I'm going to try to do that. And she gets frustrated with herself because you'll see her like she's scooting around on her little butt and she's like trying to get there. But she's in a room, she's in a world where her main people that she surrounds herself are walking on two legs. And so the best way that you can overcome this imposter syndrome is actually recognizing that you're performing in a room that is going to require you to rise. If the fear is the subconscious fear really is that they'll find out that I'm not as good as I seem. But the thing is that growth has to be rooted in humility, and it has to be rooted in the ability to say, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to ask people like, how did you get to that level? What did you do? I'm going to model them. If you look at a toddler, like my 9-month-old, she's modeling how we move our body. She's modeling trying to move her hands in a certain way. There's a power in NLP called modeling, where you look at the belief systems of how people think. How do you think about making a sale? Do you have to see it in advance? Do you have to hear that voice? And then you go through all of those visual, auditory, kinesthetic anchors to then say, oh, I'm going to mirror that and just adapt that, because success leaves clues. So imposter syndrome simply means that you're playing in a bigger room. And when you actually look at what you're impostering, if we're going to make that a word, what you're impostering about, it's the fear that you're not as good enough as you seem. But if you're honest about being a beginner, if you're honest about starting where you're at, then you're being truthful. And there still are people that are going to want to work with you. I had this conversation with another coach who on Instagram was looking like she was more successful than she was. She hadn't even had her first client yet. She was just trying things out and posting things, but everything she was posting looked very much like posturing about a certain level of success. And when we had our authority asset audit, I said, look, be honest. Like, bring more of that authenticity that you bring in your podcast to your Instagram and show, like celebrate. And then she ended up getting her first client and she celebrated. I'm on client number 1. This is not where I'm staying, but this is where I'm going, because then she became the role model from a place of humility rather than posturing, which you will see a lot of online, rather than posturing about a certain looking like she had more success than she actually did. And people are attracted to truth, and they their subconscious ties into collective consciousness. They subconsciously can feel like when something's off. When you're bullshitting yourself about your own level of success, they're going to feel that too. And they're not going to know why they don't fully trust you, but that's going to be playing into the game of energetics with perception as projection. Then we have the fourth belief of, and this one is so powerful for women or specifically, but it can be powerful for men too if they are in that caretaker role where there is a belief of if I receive more, then I'll have to give more. And it's really rooted in over responsibility and caretaker programming. So there's a belief and a fear that success will actually cost you your freedom. And if you're someone like me and freedom is one of your top 5 values, then you're going to end up blocking abundance because your nervous system associates it with being more needed, overwhelmed, depleted, and having more responsibility thrust on your shoulders. As they say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And the more power, meaning, and money is a form of energy, and energy is power. So money is more power. The more power you have, the more you have to sustain it, and the more your body has to regulate, and the more you do have responsibility. And we can reframe this belief by looking at how much more it will allow you to give to yourself. Because a lot of the times, the success, that caretaker programming, is the belief that you have to be the one doing the caretaking. When what if by you doing the caretaking, that allows you to care for one of your team members' families, because get to hire, you're making more revenue. You get to hire someone to take some things off their plate. They get to care for their families now. And you, as the business owner, get to support your family by having more spaciousness, doing the thing that lights you up in your business instead of all the admin work. We want to look at where are you giving that's at the expense of yourself instead of where are you giving from overflow and abundance. And the last subconscious belief that really is hard because you're thinking, this is so counterproductive. Like, I want success. I want to achieve that next level. I want this. Yes. But unconsciously, your unconscious mind is saying it's safer to stay where I am because your unconscious mind will always associate familiarity with safety. And if it's very familiar with negative bank balances or your current revenue or wherever you are financially, it's going to want to stay there. It's really the most insidious belief of all because it masks itself as stability in chaos. But what it actually is for you, it's an avoidance of your own expansion. And the way that I personally have reframed this, and feel free to borrow my belief system, is I don't say affirmations. I say I am expanding my capacity, and I make it safe to play on the edge of expanding my capacity. And the thing is, especially for women, especially for mothers, our bodies have already expanded in capacity through pregnancy. So somatically, we actually can feel that in our bodies of what expansion feels like. And yes, it can feel tiring because if you remember being pregnant, it's like, I'm tired. So I'm tired sometimes, and there's hormones going on, and there's so many cellular shifts that are happening because you are literally physically growing a human being that you are building to sustain itself outside of you. Well, the same is true with business. You are building an entity that ideally can sustain itself outside of you. But most people keep their business in an infantile stage. I mean, imagine having a baby, and babies are great. I love them. But having a baby that stays a baby for 20 years, after a while, you're like, oh my God, I would just love some sleep. Like, I would just love to be able to rest. That's what we do with our businesses. We keep our businesses as a baby, as an infant, constantly needing to suckle at our breast that always needs us instead of building the systems of support so that it can sustain itself without needing you for its entire life force. And that is when you actually build an empire and get to steward an empire rather than sacrificing yourself in your own expansion. So when you feel like you're at that space of familiarity, I just challenge you to sit with it. I challenge you to sit when you see that income and you're like, "Ooh, this feels really safe." Or maybe you've stretched yourself, you've generated more revenue and you're like, "Woo, okay, we're going to hold it, but we want to practice the art of feeling into holding that space." And how you do that is through your body. Do that through feeling it in your body, letting it flow through you, letting yourself see that, not having to go out and suddenly spend that cash that you just received, but be able to see it and feel it and be with it. These beliefs aren't logical. They are emotional and embodied. And the thing is that your subconscious mind, it runs your body. And so you want to feel into your body the next level of revenue. And how you do that is not by necessarily walking into Tiffany's or walking into the Mercedes shop and like acting as if and throwing down your credit card and buying something you can't afford. How you do this is you feel into the emotions of what does it actually feel like to feel safe in overflow? What does it feel like to feel safe in that next income level? To feel sustained, to feel supported? How does it feel to feel supported and loved by money? As you do, those hidden beliefs will start to shed away because all these beliefs they're inherited, they're repeated, and they're reinforced through trauma or childhood or your environment or past business failure. But when you can name them, that's when you can reclaim your power over them and you take your power back from fear and actually start moving forward into that next 100K. And the thing is that you then have to do what my client did, which is take the action. So when we saw that the system was actually blocking her success, was follow through and follow up from conferences. We built the system to ensure that no longer would she have a stack of business cards when she got back from a conference. We built the system so that she would be able to have those that are going to her website show up on her email list and get inspired by her and have those additional touch points that are needed to convert someone from someone who is interested into someone who is purchasing. And as she took those tangible actions, because it's not just about journaling about, oh, well, here's my belief is I feel like success is hard and it has to be hard. No. You can journal about it, but that's not actually the action that's going to translate results on the physical plane. So you want to be able to then look at the belief, say, wow, I didn't realize that belief that it had to be hard is blocking me now. And then look at what is that one thing that I'm avoiding that is actually allowing me to stay where I'm at. And for my client, it was building the systems. So we built in the email marketing system. We built in the referral system. We built in the system for her to have easy, streamlined follow-up from her speaking appearances. And once she had that, her level of confidence not only took off, but there was that 66.7% increase in revenue per client. So, and $4,000 in profit, because she shifted from that belief system that it had to be hard to, by having more, I get to give more and serve more people and help more people and help a different caliber of people. And that is what shifted the game for her. So you don't just it's not just having more strategy or more tactics and throwing that on to the pile of things that you need to do. It actually is you need subconscious alignment so the strategies you're working actually stick, and the awareness of those beliefs that are holding you back, and then taking the right next step that actually moves the needle to showing your body that that belief is not true, that that belief is just BS, another belief system. If you love this episode, if you're like, oh my gosh, yes, queen, I need more aligned action, then in the collective, we don't just talk about beliefs, we actually transform them. We are daily, weekly, every week, you are getting a power-packed audio activation, live monthly coaching every week. You are getting an power-packed audio activation to kick your butt within our community into the right aligned action that's actually going to catapult your success. And every month, I'm taking our collective members through my signature Queen Bee business curriculum, where we are addressing your mindset, your skill set, your systems, your branding, your marketing, your sales, your vision, your strategy, the people on your team, the people supporting you, and your legacy that you are building. We are going through that month after month. And so you get monthly group coaching with me that will rewire your ability to receive more, and that will also provide that mirror of what beliefs are holding you back from your next 100K. If this is screaming at you, if your intuition is like, oh my gosh, I want to learn more, yes, please get me in, then just click down below. The collective is open for membership right now for just $111 per month for group coaching. The community is filled with amazing, badass thought leaders, visionaries, entrepreneurs at the 6 and 7 figure level who are really stepping up their game and choosing to show up boldly and take bold AF action. And if you love this episode, make sure you hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube, and make sure you drop a review if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, because every review helps expand the reach of this podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of our Crown Yourself community. And as always, own your throne, mind your business, because your reign is now. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If what you heard resonated with you, be sure to subscribe and start creating a bigger impact now by sharing this with a friend. Just by doing that one simple act of kindness, you are creating a royal ripple to support more people in their sovereignty. And if you're not already following on social media, connect with me everywhere at crownyourself.now for more inspiration. I am so excited to connect with you in the next episode. And in the meantime, go out there and create a body, business, and life that rules. Because today, you crown yourself.